I had a particularly lovely day. I went to Shoreham by Sea to meet some friends. I had some friends I was at university with who I haven't seen for years and years. I was very, very happy as I was driving back that day, and I got home. When I got back, my daughter was actually here. She left the house at 6:30 that evening. Thank God she did leave the house at 6:30, because I dread to think what would have happened to her. I did normal things I do when I came in. I actually was at my computer. Literally, I sent an email at 19:28 that evening. Just prior to that, sorry. At 19:22, my husband phoned to say he was on the way back from taking his father to a hospital appointment. His father's 91 years old, and he'd just gone to an eye appointment. The surgeon was going to see him in the evening, so it wasn't especially late. So there I am. I literally have sent an email at 19:28, and at 19:30, I guess it would have been, I heard an extremely loud voice behind me saying, "Take me to the safe, I want the jewellery, open the safe." The whole time he comes forward towards me, he is touching me the whole time. He literally is gripping me. I was covered in bruises, and not just my arms. He bruised. I mean, there are photographs of where he bruised my body all over my breasts, which was part of the fright of it. So constantly he's gripping onto me. So I immediately said to him, "I'll get you the jewellery. I'll get the jewellery out of the safe. You can have the jewellery and then just get out." So he goes upstairs with me, and we get to the dressing room, where I open the safe very quickly, and he tells me to get on the floor. This is the moment I think he's actually going to rape me. I was really very frightened, absolutely petrified. I think it's just a horrible feeling. But all this time I've not told him that Stephen is coming back. I absolutely did not want him to know that Stephen was coming back, because I feared for Stephen's life. I just knew what would happen if Stephen had come through the door in the middle of this. As he's gripping me, he's on his own, he's unbelievably strong, he's really big. He is holding a shotgun, and he's made me touch the shotgun just to make me sure that it was a real one, not a plastic one. He made me touch it. It starts to get even more frightening now, because he points the shotgun at my chest, and I literally think, this is it, it's all over, I'm gone. He gets more and more angry. He starts hitting me. He hit me here, here and here. It really hurt. Afterwards I thought, this man knows how hard to hit me, to frighten me, but not to knock me out. Afterwards I thought, he's someone who really knows how hard to hit someone. So I've got the shotgun at my chest. He's hit me 3 times. I still say I cannot open the second safe. Then he gets from his pocket, I probably should have said, he's wearing balaclava, by the way. All I can see is his eyes. I can see nothing else. And he's wearing gloves. So he goes to his pocket and gets out things. Now I'm actually having trouble getting off one of the bracelets, and there's still one ring on my finger. And I actually didn't know what they were. And I actually thought he was going to cut me or cut my finger off or something. I just didn't know what he was doing. I didn't recognise them as plastic ties. All I could see was things like thin plastic wire, they looked like. And I realised that he was intending to tie me up, it would appear. So he's hit me really hard. So we go along the landing, he's still gripping me really hard, and I'm quite frightened, very frightened. So I tell him that Stephen's coming home, and he says, I'll shoot him. He's very, very angry. He actually says, "Get on the floor again," and he grabs me by the hair and is dragging me on the floor. I had a lot of bruises on me. I had bruises all over my side, on my foot, where he's literally dragging me on the floor. It really hurts when someone drags you by your hair. It really, really hurts. So I tell him that Stephen's coming home, and he says, I'll shoot him. He's very, very angry. He actually says, get on the floor again, and he grabs me by the hair and is dragging me on the floor. I had a lot of bruises on me. I had bruises all over my side, on my foot, where he's literally dragging me on the floor. It really hurts when someone drags you by your hair. It really, really hurts. So something's happened now. He starts to go towards the door of the office, because I said, look, I cannot open this safe. You've got the jewellery, you've got loads of jewellery, get out of my house. And I'm screaming at him, get out of my house. He seems to have decided that he will leave now. So again, he's grabbing me, going down the stairs, and we get to the front door. I unchub the front door. I slam that front door. That is a wonderful moment when I slam him behind, but I'm still terrified that he's going to wait in the garden for Stephen.
But I got back, rushed upstairs when she called me upstairs, and Susan was in a terrible state, both physically and mentally, where he'd quite savagely beaten her. We then heard the police arrive. I went downstairs to meet them. I'm not sure whether they thought I was a good guy or a bad guy. They had their tasers out, so I luckily persuaded them that I was the householder and not the burglar. To be fair, Surrey Police were absolutely fantastic that night, all the different branches, in terms of the dog section, SOCO, the detectives, the uniformed. Couldn't actually praise them more highly. Susan is pretty stoic. I think it comes from her sort of Celtish background, and I think the officers were amazed at how she was taking it to start with, but I think that's partly to do with the adrenaline and being in shock, basically. The photographs we took the following day are quite horrific in terms of bruising to the head, face, back, rest of the body, and the whole incident has affected us really badly. We're not sure whether we're going to stay here. In fact, I think it's likely we'll probably move, even though we've upgraded the security quite significantly. I think that's going to be a short-term thing. And Susan just won't stay in the house on her own, and I can't blame her either. I get nervous, not sleeping well, having some quite horrendous dreams at night, and we spend the time with all the doors locked, even the internal doors, which is no way to live. This man's completely changed our life. Yeah, there wasn't that much said on the phone, because I basically said to Susan, you've got to call the police straight away, tell them the severity, that the guy is armed with a sawn-off 12-bore shotgun, and that you really need to do that quickly. It was when I got back and went upstairs that I realised quite how severely he had beaten her and smashed her head on the floor repeatedly when she didn't know the combination to the safe in the office.
Yes, it was bruised on the back of my head where he'd been banging my head on the floor.
Yeah. So it's had a horrible effect, and to our extended family as well. My father's 91. He's terribly concerned about what's gone on, and obviously he lives on his own now. In fact, my mother's engagement, wedding and eternity ring, she died earlier this year, were all in the safe. We thought we'd keep them somewhere safe, so my daughter could have them at a later stage, and they've all gone, and they weren't particularly valuable, but that's not the important thing.
She wore them for 67 years.
Yeah.
All round the world as well, he served in the British Army,
Yeah.
to protect this country, to protect someone like that.
Yeah. It makes you extremely angry, and I now find myself losing my temper at things that are really quite irrelevant. I lost my temper at a parking machine in Helmsley last week because it didn't work quickly enough. Madness, complete madness, but it changes your whole psyche.
It's part of anxiety, Stephen. The irritability is part of anxiety.
Yeah, it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. And you lose concentration with work. You find that you're not doing half the amount that you were, 6 weeks ago. Which is, it's changed our lives. And the sooner this man can be found and caught and punished, the better.
As Stephen says, I'm frightened to be in the house alone. If that ever happens, then yes, I'll set the alarm and go upstairs. I feel safer upstairs. I'm having treatment for anxiety. I'm already started on medication. I am not an anxious person. I find it very difficult to have to take medication to calm me down, and it's quite strong. I mean, I'm quite dopey when I take the medication. I don't want to be like that. I'm very jumpy and starty. Things around me, any loud noises, I'm very nervous. It's not like me at all. Normal me is not like that. I'm very easygoing. I don't care about the important things, but I'm very jumpy and nervous, poor sleeper. It's had a massive effect. I love my home, but I actually don't feel comfortable in my home. Clearly from the moment I saw him, although it seemed a little unreal, I suddenly realised it was real, and this was a burglary and he had a gun. I was very frightened, but I knew that Stephen was on his way back, and I literally wanted to get the jewellery to him and get him out as quickly as possible, and I was hurrying the whole time. At one point I kick off my shoes outside the office because I know I can run. They're just flat shoes, but I knew I could run faster without shoes on. I was petrified the whole time. We went upstairs so that I could give him the jewellery, and all the time he's gripping me. He bruised me really badly all down my arms, and he was touching my breasts as well. There's pictures of the bruises on my breasts, not just my body. He was gripping really hard. He was close to me all the time. Somebody said, "Would you touch a panic button?" And I said, "No. I mean, he wouldn't have let me go to do that, and I would have been frightened that if I'd set that off, that he would have attacked me more violently or shot me." So I didn't even think about touching the panic button. We go and get the jewellery. I'm handing him the jewellery. Specifically asked me, "Are you alone?" I actually said, "Yes, it's just me and the dog." Afterwards I thought, why on earth did you say there's a dog? Because she's a domestic dog. She's not going to be violent towards him. And as we go into my bedroom, the dog is actually, she's obviously followed us up, and she's actually cowering on the bed because he's so loud, and I'm shouting at him, and I think she's frightened because she can hear me shouting as well. And she's literally cowered on the pillows, which she never goes. She doesn't go on the bed, she doesn't go on the pillows. And I just thought, he's going to shoot my dog. Why did you say that? But sorry, there were several things. There were some particularly sentimental things. There was a small brooch of my mother's. Tragically, my mother died when I was 17. She died at the age of 47. And it's these small things that remind you of her, who died. She was just 47. And so some swine has got that brooch that meant an enormous amount to me, but nothing to him. There were even some links from a watch that my son wears. This watch belonged to Stephen's brother, who tragically at 28 years old had a spinal cord injury and lived in agony for 21 years with us in our annex. Tim lived with us. And it's things like that. Edward wears the watch every day. So he just took everything out of the safe, including the little links from the watch that was hugely sentimental. The links are worth nothing, I know, but it's just the very sentimental things that have been taken.